Welcome to Grandma Dorothy's Kitchen. I got a good one for you today. I'm going to do some homemade. Welcome to Grandma Dorothy's Kitchen. I got a good one for you today. I'm going to do some Mississippi homemade biscuits. Okay? So what you're going to need is, we use Crisco shortening in Mississippi. You're going to need baking soda. We're only going to put 1/4 of a teaspoon because we got 2 cups of self-rising flour. Okay? You're going to use self-rising flour in this. Okay? And then we're going to use buttermilk. Alright? Now I'm going to cook it in an old-fashioned cast iron skillet. Okay? And you're going to need butter. We're going to put the butter on top. And you're going to have your oven on 400 degrees, okay? Preheated. So we're going to have, we're going to use 2 cups of flour. Self-rising flour. Remember, self-rising flour, okay? All right. You can use a sifting, or you can do it just like this. All right. Okay. And then we're going to do right here. We're going to do a 1/2 of a cup of shortening. Okay. All right. So here we go. This is a 1/2 cup right here. So we're going to make sure that we fill it a half. And make sure that all of your ingredients are cold. So, you know, put them in the refrigerator so the buttermilk can be cold, the butter can be cold, and the shortening. You want it cold too, okay? All right. So that's about a 1/2 cup. Okay, so the reason we don't want to liquefy it, because we want to cut it up. You want to cut it up in your flour. Okay? And see if it's cold, it cuts better. It cuts better when it's cold, okay? So you're going to make sure it's all cut up. Okay. Now in Mississippi, make sure it's all crunched up. Okay? All right. And the next thing we're going to do is put the buttermilk in. All right. So we're going to put 2/3 of a cup. So almost a full cup, but not quite a full cup of buttermilk. Okay? See, this buttermilk is running slow because it's cold. You want it cold. You want to make sure it's cold, because it's going to rise better. Okay. So we're going to have about 2/3 of a cup. Almost a full cup. Okay? So we can use either one of our spatulas here, but we're going to eventually use our hand. Okay? All right, because the best way to mix it is with your hand. My mom and them, they mixed all theirs with their hand when I was a little girl. They didn't use all these different, they eyeballed everything. And also they use their hands to mix everything. They didn't have the convenience that we had. Okay. All right. And they could really make some biscuits, because they made them every day. so they can really make some biscuits. Okay, so we have our bowl here, our needling bowl, okay. So what we're gonna do is, and this is the separating flour, so if we need some flour on the bowl, we just put some flour on the bowl. And you're not gonna needle it a lot, just a little bit. You see there? And we'll spread it out. And we'll get our rolling pin. And we're going to roll it. Don't worry about it not looking good. It's going to, when it get hot, it's going to be better. Okay. We want to only make about 8 biscuits, so because that's what fits in the skillet over there, about 8. So we're only gonna make about 8. This is what we're gonna cut the biscuits up in. So make sure it's floured. You got a lot of flour on it. Okay. Whatever you use, you can use a glass. Now my mother and them didn't use any of this cutting stuff. They used to make all theirs by hand. They used to make the biscuits by hand, roll it, and everything. Okay. But we a little bit more modern now. We got modern technology, so we can do a little different. Okay. All right. All right. So now we have the butter right here. So we're going to put some butter in our skillet. Okay. And we're gonna drop it in, and it's going to melt when we put it in the oven. And you're only going to have to leave it in about 8 minutes because it don't take long. This oven is hot. It's going to be, you're going to preheat the oven, and then you're going to put your biscuits in your in your skillet. You're only gonna make 8. Okay. So this right here. So we got, how many? We got 4. So we gotta make a few more. And then we're going to put butter on the top of our biscuits. Also, on the bottom and on the top. Put another one right there in the center. Okay. Now this is the way my mother and them used to make theirs. They didn't use a rolling pin, and they didn't use a cutter. They just made them like so, and dropped them in. They made everything with their hand. But you know I'm talking 75 years ago. Okay, now we're going to put some butter on the top of each one. Now for the top, if you wanted to, you can let this butter be melted and pour it over. But I'm just gonna drop it in like so. Cut a little piece for each one. Okay, that's a little bigger one, so I'm gonna take it. Okay. Okay, so I'm ready to put it in the oven, and it's gonna go in the oven for between 8 and 10 minutes. We'll look at it and see when it's brown, until they brown. Okay? Welcome to Grandma Dorothy's Tea Time. I appreciate you tuning in to my tea time. And we're going to have some tea. All right? We're still talking about it's time to grow up. And yesterday we left off with the newborn, the babyhood. Okay? Newborn babes require lots of work. They don't do much but except eat, sleep, and have everything done for them. Okay, so we, in the spirit, we are the same way when we become born again. Remember, in order to be a child of God, you have to be born again. Okay? So this involves when you're a newborn babe, everything is done for you because it's parallel to the natural. It's just like in the natural, a baby has to have everything done for them. Okay? Now, you don't stay babies forever. In the natural, and you don't stay baby, you should not. Most people die babies in the spirit. That don't mean that because they die babies, they're not going to go to heaven. No. They're still saved, but they don't enjoy the abundant life that Jesus paid the price for. You know, they don't, salvation is just one part of it. Living an abundant, prosperous life is another part. David said, I have fainted unless I believe to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And in order to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, you gotta be developed. You got to go through a process of development in the spirit, in order to, so you look at people and you say, oh, why do they seem like they get better jobs, get better breaks? It's because they have their faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please God, and they're walking in the anointing that God has on their life because they're growing up. They're not a baby anymore. You know, because the next stage from a baby stage is childhood, okay? When you wean the child, okay? But how many of us know that the day a child is weaned from the bottle is not always a happy occasion, okay? I've heard many children scream as though they were dying. Even some of mine didn't want me to wean them, because you remember I got 10 living kids, okay? And so that I birthed, okay? And so, because they used to be the bottle and everything done for them, so they get stuck. They don't want to give up that. They don't want to give up that. They want that lifestyle. They want everything to be dished out to them. They want to control everything. They want to scream and cry if they don't get it. But you have to become weaned. You have to know. You have to want to. You have to want to grow up. You have to desire change. Most of us are afraid of change. But you gotta embrace change. You gotta want change. You gotta know that things cannot remain the same and you grow. Okay? Alright? Remember, it's time to grow up. Okay? Even though children can be a handful, they're often curious and like to get things done. Get into a lot of things. My grandkids, I look at them, I compare them with how my kids used to be. Very curious. They want to know it. They're real nosy. Ain't going to do nothing about it. Even if you teach them, they don't want to learn. And they don't want to do nothing. Nowadays, these millenniums, they think everything should be handed to them. They want everything, want to know everything. I was curious when I was little, but it was because I wanted to know and I wanted to do. I didn't want to just know just to be knowing. I didn't want to be, and plus, I couldn't be lazy. You couldn't be lazy in the South 75 years ago when I was growing up. You had to work. You wasn't no such thing as sitting at home. We didn't have television and computers and all that. And those are good things, and I'm not against it. But I mean, we have to incorporate some other things in it too, like discipline. How many hours the kids can watch television. Your house is your home, is your castle. And it's the home where you should be able to have rules and regulations. You should be able to say what comes in your house and what comes through the television, what comes through the door and what comes through the television. But most of us don't do that. We just let the kids just let it all hang out. Whatever they want to do, they do as long as they want to, all night long. My grandkids be on a cell phone all night long. You got to get up the next day and go to school. And so, you can't, if you don't get a proper rest, and if you don't, and no study time, no reading, nobody reading anything, nobody studying anything, nobody doing any homework. Parents got to set standards, and they got to set rules and regulations in their houses. Kids got to grow up, and in no time at all, kids just grow up real fast, and you have to train them because they got to go out into the real world, and they got to deal with the real world. So it's important that we train our kids and we teach them how to grow up, okay? Another thing about children is that they don't never learn the value of silence. That's right, they want to talk. Listen, my granddaughter, I tell her, now, listen, ain't nobody but, if she come to visit me, anybody but me and her, I said, what that? Oh, I didn't do that. Ain't nobody here but me and you. How you mean you didn't do that? You did do that. Just instead of saying, well, you know what, Grandmama, I must have did it, but I'm sorry. I'll fix it. Yeah. Never to blame. Oh, I always want to blame somebody else. How you going to blame people? How you going to blame? You have to take the responsibility for your own action. Yes, I must have did that, but I didn't know I did it, so I'll fix it. Oh, no, I didn't do it. I didn't do that. Make sure I don't do that again. That's all we have to do. We have to take, as adults, we have to take responsibility, growing up spiritually. We have to take responsibility. I'm sorry, Father, forgive me. That's why a lot of us don't want to pray and ask God to forgive us for anything, because we want to blame. Well, if it wasn't for her, then I wouldn't have did that. No. Take the responsibility for your own actions. That's growing up spiritually. And God wants us to do that, because whatever we do, there's nothing that we do that God will not forgive us for. But we have to be mature enough to admit, yes, part of that was my fault too. And so, Father, forgive me. I had a part to play in that. Forgive me, Father. All right? So, it's time to grow up, people. And let us grow up. Let us be determined to grow up, and let us want to grow up, and let us desire to grow up. Okay? Thank you for sharing tea time with Grandma Dorothy. Don't forget your tea. And don't forget that we are going to pray 15 minutes every day. All this year. 365 days this year, okay? So it's not over yet. We just begun. We only just begun. Thank you for sharing tea time. Welcome back. Now this is the finished product. Okay? All right. And so in Mississippi, we used to, this is alligator syrup we used to eat in Mississippi with our biscuits. Okay? And so see the thick syrup? Now they got the thin syrup. They've graduated from the thick syrup to the thin syrup. But it's okay. It's all good. Any of it is good. This is just the kind of syrup that we used to have in Mississippi. Okay? And some stores don't carry it. They only carry, the thin syrup what the people use nowadays. Yes. It's good. It's light. It's real fluffy. Very good. You can taste the buttery taste. Mm-hmm. Very good. Real good. Very good. Very tasty. Very light. Remember, I have a cookbook. Dorothy's Mississippi Soul Food. They're only $15. And buy one, and I will autograph it and send it back to you by return mail. Happy eating to you, and don't forget to subscribe. I need some subscribers, so subscribe for me, okay? Tell your friends, your family, and your neighbors, your co-workers. Grandma Dorothy's Kitchen, okay?